Hello, friends. I'm gonna challenge you to read my cat's body language for the next 10 seconds. Comment down below what you think he was communicating. If your answer was that he was in a very playful mood, then you are correct. There's a huge chance that you probably don't need this video and you already know how to read your cat's body language and understand what they're trying to communicate. But if you say to yourself, that's just a cat being a normal cat, then maybe this video might be useful for you. I talk a lot about how important it is to understand your cat's body language and learn how to communicate with one another. However, I don't really think I have a lot of great examples of what that looks like on the day-to-day basis. How often do I do it? When do I have the time? What does that really look like? How do you know the difference between effective communication and non-effective communication? And I think that all of those nuances are really important in understanding every individual relationship. So I figured that I will take you guys on like a POV through my perspective of how to read my cat's body language, what it looks like throughout our day. Like, there's no better feeling in this world than just creating this little bubble of communication between you and your fur baby. So if this video can be helpful in evolving that relationship, that is a win for me. So come along with Mochi, Rico, and I. Rico and I are just chilling here. What you want to do today, Rico? You want to keep playing? You still on nap time? Yeah, she's on nap time. One of the best parts about having a cat in your family is that they are pretty independent creatures. Therefore, as long as I've laid out a few of their favorite toys, they are good to go, whether I have to work in person or I'm working from home. But then there's moments that make you question everything, like when your cat starts climbing on your laptop or they won't stop chewing on your cords. This is the stage that Rico is at right now, and this is when I realized that he was communicating that he wanted to play with me. There's a past version of me that probably would have waved off his behavior as annoying. But when I learned the secret to understanding your cat's body language and behaviors, and then eventually turning that into better communication between one another, everything changed. Look right here, he opened the door for me, I read his body language, and then boom. From bored to excited in seconds. This is an opportunity that people often overlook. A lot of people think that the best time to play with their cats is whenever they're available. However, I actually urge you to teach your cats that if they want something, they can try to communicate it, rather than you guys just live this lifestyle of guessing what each other enjoys. So in my household, it is very normal to ask my cats what they want, how they're feeling, and what they're interested in before approaching those things, rather than what we've been typically taught, which is just to automatically assume we know everything. Cats communicate so much through their eyes, ears, tail, body, tongue, teeth. Like literally, if they can't speak, everything else speaks for them. So not only do I use those signals to help me determine whether or not they're interested in playing or doing something, but it also helps me during the play to figure out what they like most and then how to get them to that optimal feeling they're looking for, or to kind of wear them out so that they feel fulfilled. So reading Rico's body language here, I'm starting to recognize that he was getting tired. I also started playing with the microphone, getting magnetized to the toy, but nonetheless, you can see he's laying down. He's not as physically active. He is the type of cat that wants to push himself beyond what he's capable of doing. He loves the thrill of a catch, but he will keep going when he's tired. And through reading my cat's body language, I learned that the only thing that will make him stop is the feeling that he got some prey, he worked hard for it, and then he gets to drag it off into his lair. But watching him, I realized that if I took the toy and dragged it somewhere far, he was 100% active again, meaning he didn't feel like he worked hard enough for what he was doing. He didn't feel like he deserved the prey that he caught, so he was willing to keep working hard for it. And I knew there was one of two options that would end up happening. He would either catch it and thought he caught it in a satisfying enough way and dragged it and walked off with it, or he was just gonna burn himself out to the point that he literally could not jump anymore. And during this play session, I realized that he was just gonna burn himself out. And me noticing his body language and being able to come up with these conclusions makes all the difference in our future. For example, when Rico was communicating to me that he wanted to play, he did it in a very subtle way. He just sat near me or near the things that he wanted to play with, but didn't really make much noise. And Mochi, however, will nibble at my ankles, she'll keep meowing, and she does a lot to show that she wants something. But anyways, another thing that I noticed when I play with my cats is that they do not hydrate themselves after, and they're not really good at it. So I came up with a quick way to get my cats hydrated. I call it the cat martini. This is just something that I use to hydrate them after they're panting a lot or when I've given them a lot of dry food. Mochi just gets some by default because I didn't want her to feel like we're giving favoritism toward Rico. I have a video about how I make these, but it's really just like 2-3 ingredients. You just squeeze a puree treat. I use churros, and then when I add a little bit more water, I like to add some bone broth in it to make it taste a little bit more flavorful. Please use lukewarm water for this. Not only is it better for your cats, but it helps you when you're stirring and diluting the puree with it. When I used like semi-cold water, it took me like 2 minutes straight to stir this up, but this took like 5 seconds. Good job, you guys. So I made this martini for my cats for the first time like 3 months ago, but as you can see, they love it. And so based on their body language and the way that they behaved like this, I kind of made it something that I continue to do in the future. So after a moment like this, I am 100% sure that my cats will be napping within 15-20 minutes. It's like after every activity or every time a cat eats, they're like, all right, I've done my activities for the day. So I usually use these as a good time for me to get back into my work mode. But looking back at this video, it made me realize how important it is to remember the things that you do and to read your animal's body language and to check in with everybody. Just because you did something with one doesn't mean you did it with the other. The video started with reading Rico's body language, but we forgot that Mochi started off sleeping, so she's not gonna go back and nap after this. She's looking to start her day and start her activities for the day. I had forgotten that, so you can see the confusion in my face. Mochi would typically come sit next to me, so I offer her to come sit, and she just kept showing me that she was not interested in that. Mochi was trying to communicate to me that it was her turn for entertainment or some fun, yet I had forgotten that. And the hard part about playing with Mochi or entertaining Mochi is this. Mochi likes the attention on herself, and Rico doesn't mind sharing, so he takes it as an opportunity for both of them to do something. And Mochi's more of an independent girl, as you can see from her torty coat. And this is the point where you can notice that I started to catch on to the fact that Mochi wanted something. She was not ready to nap. I would ask her questions, you know, do you want this? Are you interested in that? And you could see here from her body language that you can tell the moments where she's interested in something, but I wasn't quite there yet. Here, when you saw her move her head, I asked her if she wanted to play, and she started literally walking toward the bin that I keep all their toys in. I asked her what she wanted. She nodded her head and made eye contact with me when I said, do you want to play? And then she literally walked to this bin and showed me that she wanted to play. However, the difference between Mochi and Rico is that Mochi is more picky when it comes to what she wants to play with. Rico, if you pull out any toys and throw them out, he's interested. Mochi, if something happens in between that kind of throws her off, she's not really as interested anymore. So you really have to gauge. I think what happened here is that Mochi was interested in playing and then was reminded of the fact that her brother always tries to get involved in things, so she switched her interest. After asking her more questions and continuing to read her body language, we eventually came to the conclusion that she wanted to go outside. Unfortunately for her, it was freezing cold and snowing outside, and then on top of that, she didn't even want to put on her harness. So Mochi wasn't able to go outside, but it is good to know what she wanted because then I could pivot and find something better for her. You can see here, I kept working with Mochi to find something that worked for her that everybody could agree on, and her body language was showing me that that was making her happy, that she did want to find something, and she eventually was fine with sitting with me. After that, I was finally able to get a crap ton of work done, so I didn't really start recording until the evening. We had also gone to Costco in the middle of the day, and so I took the boxes that we used and turned them into toys for the cats. I love doing this. I only just keep them for like a few days and then discard them, but I turn it into fun kind of amusement areas for the cats, and they always have a blast. Here you can see Rico was playing with one of his toys. Mochi had her fun in the box earlier when I threw some catnip in it, but she eventually knocked out. When I went to go check on her in her signature chair, she was definitely not in the mood to play or be bothered. She was 100% fine with just chilling there. I kept asking, "What do you want?" And none of her body language said, "Get up."